So on this channel, we track the best crypto traders in the world and the biggest influencers in the world. And almost all of them, except for one actually, who I'll talk about at the end of the video, who I met in person recently, think that that was the bottom of the market. This week was the lowest crypto prices that we're going to see for the rest of the year and likely through 2026 as we go nuclear. Crypto god John turned 3K into $2 million in the first, in the 2017 cycle, says crypto bottom is in. Alex Becker, one of the biggest crypto influencers, agrees with him with this cheeky grin. How do we know he actually agrees? Because he came out with an emergency video 12 hours ago saying that Trump's new China rule just nuked crypto, which that's not actually what the video is about. What the video is about is how he thinks this is one of the best asymmetric trades you could ever make right now today in crypto. Ilya Trades, one of the wealthiest and best performing crypto investors with a lot of inside knowledge, says, "My favorite coins look bottomed out." He goes on to say, "This is the part of the vicious rebound rally that traders wish they had bought more. If there's another nice dip this week, it's a smash buy. Feels unlikely though due to massive positive developments with tariffs." He thinks that we might be lucky to see another small dip. Murad, who owns tens of millions of dollars of meme coins, says, "Welcome to the meme coin super cycle. Like we went through the storm and came out the other side to some sunshine," which is what we are seeing today. The Bitcoin historian has found a whale, a massive whale, not just any whale, that doubled down on Bitcoin with a $200 million bet on 40x long, which, you know, this is a big time player. And the speculation is that he knows something. All these whales, all these influencers, all these top traders all think that we're going up from here. Now, they could be wrong, sure, but the asymmetric bet for me is insane. Now, if you're not sure if we're going bullish or not, I'm going to give you the 5 top indicators that we are about to turn extremely bullish in this video, but also know it's really easy to miss. Although we've had a month or two of slow pullback or even fast pullback where we've lost 30 to 60% of some of our portfolios, it can turn in a second. XS says, reminder, Shiba Inu went from a $2.89 billion market cap to a $35 billion market cap in just 1 month. So if you're 1 month or even 1 week slow in this, you could miss most of the gains. Now, also to make sure you don't miss all of the gains, come and check out our crypto wallet, Archie. You can buy and sell any token on the Solana blockchain, regardless of how big the market cap is, from the Telegram app. In my opinion, and I am biased because this is my software, it is the best way to buy and sell crypto. And we have an announcement coming this week that you don't want to miss out on. I'm going to talk to you more about that, but make sure you come and load up your Archie wallet. You can buy. I literally rocked up to the gym yesterday, and this is how I know the crypto market might be rumbling, might be coming back. I got out of the car. His friend's like, "Jump into this new crypto meme coin with me." I was like, "Sure." I pulled out my Archie. He sent me the contract address. 1-click button to get in at a $74,000 market cap. You can get into all tokens. You have to wait till they're listed on exchanges and in the billions of dollars when you use something like Archie. And it's really easy to trade on the go because you can simply click buy and sell with just one button from inside the Telegram app. That token also went on to do a nice 10x for us. Some of these are anecdotal signs. I'm about to give you 5 concrete objective signs, but the fact that we're making money on meme coins again, and the fact that this channel here is getting reached out to again for partnerships, which that was dead for the last 2 months. We had no one reaching out. Now we're having people reaching out again. We've actually signed 2 new partnerships here. And that sort of anecdotal evidence makes me think that the rumblings of this super cycle are coming. Now let's get to the more objective, concrete evidence. The first one is probably the most obvious one. Thomas Farah on Twitter says the M2 money supply is going parabolic right now. What's the M2 money supply? The amount of money that people are printing around the world. Not people, but countries are printing around the world. And you can see that this is highly correlated to the Bitcoin price. You can see we're right here in the dip. This, if it goes ahead and continues to correlate, I'm going to give you the correlation percentage in a second too. We're going to reach up to $130,000 per Bitcoin. This was, let me actually get this guy's name. Colin Talks Crypto. His whole Twitter is basically about the M2 money supply and how it's the only thing that you need to track to know the price of Bitcoin. You can see the correlation percentages down here. Over 1 year, it's got a 92% correlation. And he says it looks like Bitcoin will have a 2-month long pump from May to the end of June, followed by a 1 month corrective period. That's the corrective period up here, followed by another pump because we just got this massive line up because the M2 money supply today and yesterday has continued to go parabolic as countries are printing more and more money, and Bitcoin acts like a sponge for that money because it is scarce in supply. The second factor, have a look at the fear and greed index. This is at all-time historic lows down here. This is, I've gone all because CoinMarketCap didn't have this for a while, but if we go back to 2023, we haven't seen fear and greed like we saw over the last 2 months. It's actually the only time that it touched the red. And you can see anytime that it had touched the orange in the past, once you zoom out a little bit, so this is not exact, this is not like day to day, this is not week to week, you got to be a little bit patient and think more in months, and years would benefit you even more, but I know it's kind of hard to do in crypto, but at least thinking within 2 to 3 months, anytime that it touched the orange, it was a good time to buy it because the Bitcoin price here in the green skyrocketed after that. Anytime it touched the green, this nice green at the top, was a good time to sell because that was when people were getting overly bullish. Even down here, you can see if you bought here at $54,000 Bitcoin, over the next couple of months, it would have rallied to $106,000. You want to be contra trading the sentiment out there, meaning when it's fearful, you buy, when it's greedy, you sell. The third factor, have a look at this factor. The US White House says gold reserves may be used to purchase Bitcoin. You are not bullish enough. Because if you remember, when Trump announced the strategic Bitcoin reserve, they said they're going to be accumulating more Bitcoin as long as it's budget neutral. So there's a lot of people who have come up with ideas such as Bit bonds, or even selling their gold supply to be buying Bitcoin because they're not taking money out of taxpayers' pocket. You know, they sell gold, they take the proceeds of gold, they buy Bitcoin. And this seems a little bit crazy, but if you watch Scott Besson on Tucker Carlson, he literally said gold used to be one of the best stores of value. Now Bitcoin is becoming one of the best stores of value. And this is straight from the mouth of the US Secretary. Not only that, President Trump's executive director just said countries will race to buy as much Bitcoin as possible. This is the classic game theory. There's a scarce amount of Bitcoin and the last person in pays the highest price and the first person in takes all the profit from everybody else. He says that Trump and his team are literally going to find the best ways possible to get as much Bitcoin as they can in budget neutral ways. And like he says, it's a race for other countries to follow, and that's what they're doing. Swedish MP wants a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, this is something. Now, it's not just countries that are playing out this game theory. Also, states of countries. This is Florida that plans to buy up $1.5 billion of Bitcoin for their strategic Bitcoin reserve. HB 487 would allow public funds to invest in Bitcoin, and there are currently no votes against it. Now, it's not just countries, it's not just states, but it's also businesses. Everyone knows MicroStrategy pioneered this idea, but Michael Saylor was in talks with the CEO of GameStop, and GameStop is now officially a Bitcoin-backed company, and they had $4.5 billion of assets that they're going to be trying to raise money on top of and put into Bitcoin. And Michael R. Sullivan says, if you think this pump is fun, wait until GameStop announces their $19,000, it's not $19,000, it's 19,000 Bitcoins, which I think is $1.5 billion, first thing Monday morning. Still a bull market. Focus in. I think that's a play on lock-in right there. Now, another massively bullish factor, which I saw from House of Crypto, which he saw from another video, is talking about how the news is diverting everybody's attention away from how strong the US economy and how strong the US hand in this giant world trade war poker match is. And if you have a look at the news, they say chaos grips markets as Trump's $6.4 trillion mistake sinks economy despite Trump's retreat. Up here, they said China raises tariffs on US, calling Trump's policies a joke. They make it look like it's absolute chaos. But as Peter from House of Crypto was saying, anytime that there is actually turmoil in the world, where do people go? I mean, you can think of this in the cryptocurrency metaphor. When there's turmoil in cryptocurrency, you want to be putting your money in the most stable asset, which is Bitcoin. It's the biggest one. It's the first mover advantage. Everyone goes up the risk curve and invests in the most stable, most consistent, most old asset. Well, the same thing happens with currencies. If you think the US dollar is technically Bitcoin, it's the biggest one, it's the most stable, it's the least corrupt, although they're all corrupt, that's why we like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, but it's the least of the bad bunch. But the theory goes, if the world actually is in turmoil, everyone's going to be racing to buy the US dollar because it is the safest out of all the currencies. However, the dollar is crashing, or it's coming down, which is apparently what Trump's plan is. And therefore, there's not trillions of dollars flooding into the dollar. But this is actually a really strong sign that there's a lot less chaos out there in the world, because when the dollar goes up, it means it's more in demand and there's more chaos and turmoil in the world, just like you can see here over COVID. However, when it's going down, people aren't looking for these safe havens. In fact, they're looking for higher risk assets. And the fifth reason, and Mitchell puts this perfectly, he says the 2017 bull run was driven primarily by adoption of cryptocurrency. The 2021 bull run was driven primarily by liquidity. That's turning on the printers because of the COVID chaos. The 2025 bull run will be driven by both. Not only are we getting the printers turned on, but mass adoption and game theory of Bitcoin is also playing out, as is the AI and RWA narrative. Printers roaring and Wall Street bidding. Nobody is bullish enough. Anthony Pompliano says the Federal Reserve may have to make an emergency rate cut soon. And rate cuts mean price of Bitcoin historically absolutely skyrockets. Inflation has fallen to the lowest level since 2020. If this continues, it will be a big problem. The Fed says that they're absolutely ready to support the markets. Quantitative tightening will end soon, and quantitative easing is coming. It's time to buy everything. Even Trump is saying the slow-moving Fed should cut rates. This is his plan. He wants to refinance the US's debt on lower interest rates. And even David Sachs, the crypto and AI czar, says it is time for a rate cut. Fred Krueger says if you look forward 12 months, there's a 0 chance we have tight money. There will be a tsunami of liquidity with low rates. Bitcoin may not get to 1 million, but it's going to get meaningfully close by the midterms. And if Bitcoin gets close to 1 million, guys, we're all just absolutely laughing. But even if it gets to 200K, even if it gets to 250K, we're still all giggling a little bit because we know how to play the risk curve. We know how that liquidity eventually moves. After people double their money in Bitcoin, they take on the riskier and riskier assets down the crypto whip where we can find those 20x and 100x returns. And if you're doing that on the Solana blockchain, remember, come and use Archie. We have an announcement coming this week. It's in testing right now, and we're going to make the announcement a little bit later in the week about some awesome new features that I know you're going to love. They're literally going to make us the market leader in terms of wallet. So I highly recommend you go to archiebot.ai. I'll put the link in the description below and get a funded wallet before that goes live. Let me know what you think about our wallet. We're open to all feedback, and we are making it better and better based on what you think. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.